I'm still stuck. I'm playing Battlefront on consoles now because we got console copies only, and I'm doing the review right now. Review in progress, live on IGN.com now. Please read it, please, please. It's so alone. I'm liking that game a whole lot.
Yeah,
I think it's got problems. I think.
Well, you like roughly a third of it.
Yeah, but I think it's like the Battlefield problem, right? Which is like the campaign is so awful that it makes me loathe the game in some ways, but the multiplayer is so good that I love it. So now it's like, well, this is an interesting scoring problem in that 6 of the multiplayer modes are at best like inoffensive and just like, oh, okay, like they've got capture the flag, that's fine, or like really, really bad and just not useful. There's no reason for them to be there. There are a few modes that feel like the hero stuff they have, like Heroes and Villains, where it's you get like Leia, Han, and Luke on a team with some rebel soldiers fighting against Boba Fett, the Emperor, and Vader with a bunch of soldiers, and they just like mash into each other in like tiny maps. It's like this is a prototype idea that someone had of like, yo, what if we just got all the heroes in a match? It's not very fun, but it's a good feature. Add it to the list. And it's like
it's something that like you get a game like that and you're like, oh, I bet it would be great if we did this, and then you do it and it's like, oh, I see why they didn't do that.
Yes, but I think it's stuff like that that makes it stand out, that DICE is acutely aware that people are angry about the lack of a campaign in this game. Which for me, like, I don't care. Like, I'm totally happy to pay $60 for an Uncharted game that's 6 hours long and single player only, and like people have been happy about that for literally decades.
Well, I think it's more a matter of like, hey, it would be great if there were a single player Star Wars shooter out there.
Yeah,
you know, I would really like to play that game.
And I agree, but I just think this is not that game.
Right, and people are mad that it's not that game. They wanted like the people that are mad are not the people that.
But it's like being mad at Fallout because you want a multiplayer Fallout game.
And some people are.
That's so. I just don't understand that line of thinking at all.
No, you want a certain thing, and the person who has the rights to that thing are not making the thing that you want. So
yeah,
you're mad.
But like if you want pizza, go order a pizza. Don't order a burger.
But anyway.
I really hate using food analogies when doing video game conversations.
I'm hungry, Mitch. Thanks.
I really want a burger, but we're getting pizza. We are literally getting pizza today, and I really want a burger.
But yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is that there is that need has not been filled.
Yeah, and I get that to a certain degree. Like, man, I would like do despicable things for a Republic Commando sequel that we're never gonna get. But yeah, like I'm enjoying Battlefront a whole lot. Aside from, you know, there's like all this dead weight over here. If you focus on like the 3 modes that are really good, and that really doesn't sound like a lot.
I thought wasn't it 4 modes including survival? Yeah,
I guess you're right. I was thinking just pure like big scale multiplayer stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so the Supremacy, Walker Assault, Drop Zone, and Survival are all really, really good. And I was really surprised by Survival being as strong as it is. I enjoyed it during our E3 demo, and I enjoyed it, you know, when it was in the beta. But man, like you had, well, I think there were only 5 waves in the beta. There are 15 on every map. There's 4 maps, 1 on each planet, and it's like wave-based co-op stuff, or you can play alone. So if you want a limited single-player experience, like there's that for you. That stuff is really fun because you have like TIE fighters coming in and walkers coming at you, like ATSTs coming at you, dudes with jetpacks and dudes who go invisible, stormtroopers protected by scout troopers. It's a lot to take in. Every wave is different. You play on higher difficulties. It's like really, really challenging. We ended up, Brian Malkowitz, who came to the event, we ended up like hiding inside of turrets just to like recover our health because we were getting wrecked so badly. Yeah, those modes are really good. That is really strong. It's like Battlefield, full of those kind of spectacular wow moments where every time you look at something, there's cool stuff happening near it, like an ATST getting smashed by an A-Wing as Luke Skywalker leaps over and Boba Fett's flying through the air. And like that stuff is so cool.
Yeah, it seems to me like a shooter. I just played some of the beta and I played some of D3, but it seems like a not overly complex first-person shooter.
Yeah.
That just has this really amazing coat of Star Wars like slathered all over it.
Which makes me wonder, like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, like really, really a Star Wars fan, are you going to care about this game?
I think much less. I don't know why you would really. I mean, so much of it seems to be focused on delivering a Star Wars experience. Whether that experience is super deep or not, they don't seem to be all that concerned. But they do really want to make you feel like you are in Star Wars, and I think they do a great job of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I'm not I'm not like a fan of the military or anything, but I enjoy Battlefield because of the systems and the sandbox and the things you can do.
Right, but you like that theme to some. You don't dislike that theme. You're not indifferent to the theme.
I think it's a good vehicle for everything else.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a shooter,
Yep.
and I think if you're not a super big Star Wars fan, I think you can at least get something out of the idea of I'm flying a ship.
Yep.
There's a walking tank.
Yep.
There are guys with cool laser guns. Like, there's enough there that I think you can latch onto and have a good time with the tools.
I'm sure, like most people who play Battlefront will have a pretty good time with it. It's just whether you love it or not is going to have a great deal to do with how much you value that Star Wars atmosphere.
Maybe it'll bring new people who haven't seen Star Wars into that universe, right? Or not even like seen every Star Wars, like the original 3.
Yeah.
My girlfriend still hasn't seen it. So
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta change that.
Battlefront will be the vessel by which
yeah,
he
exactly.
comes on board.
Play the shooter and maybe you'll like the lore. So does it stand on its own as a shooter, or is there something deeper that differentiates
I think
it?
so. I think a lot of people had concerns during the beta that like, oh, the shooting doesn't feel good and all the guns feel the same, and I completely disagree now. I think during the beta there was definitely some issues where like fire rates were mostly similar with a lot of the guns, and I think that's why people felt that way, because if you don't offset that with damage variables and range and things like that, then you end up having weapons that, kind of feel the same. Now there are weapons that are like, there's literally a shotgun, which is cool and weird and different, and I've never seen one, but it looks like a cool Star Wars blunderbuss, like a one-handed shotgun. Awesome. It's awesome.
It blows my mind that they didn't make the Stormtrooper rifle like wildly inaccurate.
I see, and I kind of think they did. Like, the default stock Stormtrooper rifle sucks. It's really bad. But you get a new one by like the level 3, so it's like the
Kind of like an
accuracy.
inside joke.
Yeah, but it's not like you and I were discussing, which is like, what if like 1 in every 3 shots just like missed? Like there was a die roll and it didn't make contact at all.
I just want it to be like a widespread, a high rate of fire, widespread.
Right, and I mean there are guns like that encourage like short burst, like you would for like an SMG or something like that, like a mid-range gun that does require that.
But you were saying that, and this is going back to the beta, that you preferred playing it on PC.
Yes.
And what do you think is the main strength of it on PC? Because it does look fantastic on PS4.
Absolutely. Yes.
Really kind of surprised at how good it looks on PS4.
It's minor details. On PS4, there's a little bit of like aliasing where like you look at a bush and it's like, oh, like I can see the jagged edges on it, and like the light coming through tree lines on Endor are sort of static, and they just don't have like that wow factor, just to fall back on that stupid phrase again. But like it is so much more impressive on PC to see that level of detail, like that commitment to the authenticity of replicating Star Wars that they do so well, just a little bit better. Like it just makes it stand out as like, oh, like like a little difference goes a long way when you're looking at something that is definitely Star Wars. And then like we talked about before, like it comes into like being able to customize your field of like your vertical field of view and your frame rate and things like that.
Yeah, and it is still a bummer that they don't have a server browser, but
yeah, I think their matchmaking is really good though, at least so far. I mean, the game isn't out, so we're working with pre-release stuff, but like it's on EA Access, so on Xbox One, like matches load really quickly. There are a lot of people playing already, which bodes well. I think that this game will clean up, obviously, but on PC, I think there's room for it to do really well. It's just so dumb that you can only buy it on Origin.
Yeah.
Or you can only use it on Origin, rather.
You can buy it in a store, but I mean,
sure. But then you have to go through Origin to redeem it.
Yeah, just like a Steam game. And to be fair, Origin has gotten a lot better. It's no longer the huge pain in the ass it once was. And Steam went through the same thing. Steam was terrible when it launched. Origin, I think, was terrible for longer. But it's
definitely better now.
It's no longer a active hindrance to me playing games.
It has overtaken Uplay. It is.
Oh yeah, Uplay is still
It's in a
awful.
nice second place.
Yeah.